Chosen one, listen carefully. Heaven has paused all of creation for a moment just to speak to you. This is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. You have been walking through a season that looked like chaos, yet every moment was scripted by heaven. You were not being punished, you were being proved. God placed you in situations where no one saw your struggle, where no applause came, where even prayers seemed to echo back empty, all to reveal what was truly inside your heart. You didn't realize it, but the silence you faced was not abandonment, it was examination. Heaven was observing your reactions, your patience, your quiet tears, your hidden worship. Every time you whispered, "I still trust you," when everything screamed that he was gone, heaven recorded it. Every time you chose peace over revenge, faith over fear, love over bitterness, the Father smiled. You were being tested not in your comfort, but in your character. The unseen trials were never designed to destroy you. They were divine tests to expose your faith's authenticity. When friends walked away, when support crumbled, when blessings seemed delayed, you proved that your loyalty wasn't for what God gave, but for who He is. You stayed. You believed. You kept walking even when you couldn't see the way. You didn't know that every unanswered prayer was a sacred setup, a mirror reflecting your resilience. Heaven was waiting to see if you'd still praise without proof, still believe without evidence. And you did. Your worship in the dark became a shout in heaven's courts, shaking the unseen and silencing the enemy's accusations. You thought you were forgotten, but the truth is you were hidden for refinement. Every closed door was protection, every delay a divine pause ensuring your foundation was unshakable. What looked like loss was heaven's lesson in loyalty, crafting a heart that loves God not for miracles but for relationship. While others sought shortcuts, you chose surrender. You learned that obedience costs, that faith sometimes bleeds, yet you kept standing, so each trial became a teacher, shaping humility, wisdom, and endurance within you. Heaven doesn't forget students who stay when class gets hard, and your perseverance has earned heaven's highest commendation. Now the clouds that once covered you are lifting. The same God who examined your heart is preparing to elevate you publicly. You will soon see why the test had to be long, because your blessing must be lasting. The furnace didn't break you. It branded you with favor that will never fade. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. And He saw yours. He saw the times you praised through pain, the moments you forgave when your heart was still bleeding, the days you gave when you barely had enough for yourself. You passed tests others didn't even know existed. While some complained, you prayed. While others sought validation, you sought God's voice. You didn't understand the process, but heaven was using it to qualify you for greater things. The truth is, heaven tests before it trusts, and you have been found trustworthy. The silence that once broke you has now become your strength. You've learned to recognize God even in stillness. The very pain that tried to silence your worship became the instrument that amplified it. Now heaven sends this message to confirm what you already feel stirring in your spirit. You passed the test. You didn't have to be perfect. You just had to be persistent. God is impressed with your heart because when you had every reason to quit, you chose to keep going. Your faith has been proven genuine, purified like gold in fire. Beloved chosen one, this is your moment of recognition. Heaven has signed off on your endurance. You are moving from testing to testimony, from silence to sound, from hiddenness to honor. You have been weighed and found faithful. What's next for you will not be random, it will be reward. But don't keep this revelation to yourself. Someone else is standing in their own silent test, wondering if heaven still sees them. Let your voice become their confirmation. If this message speaks to you, like, share, and subscribe so more of the chosen ones can hear this divine truth. And as your act of faith, write in the comments 777, the number of completion, declaring that your season of testing has come full circle and divine approval is now resting on you. You have passed the test. Heaven is impressed with your heart. Chosen one, your silent season was never a mistake. It was a holy classroom where heaven studied your endurance. There were days when your prayers hit the ceiling and fell back like echoes, when you questioned if God still remembered your name. You looked around and saw others rising while you remained still. You wondered, did I miss something? But what you didn't see was the heavenly hand writing notes about your faith behind the curtain of silence. The silence was not God ignoring you, it was God trusting you. In that quiet space where you felt unseen, heaven was testing whether you would still believe when the spotlight disappeared. You thought nothing was happening. Yet in that silence, your roots were growing deep. Trees that grow in hidden places survive the fiercest winds. Heaven often conceals what it is cultivating. If you had seen the blueprint, you might have rushed ahead of the process. But God was protecting your promise from premature exposure. You wanted answers, but God wanted authenticity. So, He went quiet. The Father who once spoke in fire chose to whisper through stillness. There were nights when you sat in tears, staring at the ceiling, whispering, "Why don't you speak anymore?" Yet He was closer in that silence than He ever was in the noise. The teacher is always silent during the test, not because he has abandoned the student, but because he knows the student already carries what is needed to pass. Heaven's silence is sacred. It is the realm where true trust is born. The absence of answers teaches you to recognize the presence of faith. You have learned to pray not for outcomes, but for obedience. You have learned that God's not yet is not no. It's a divine pause for preparation. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." That single truth has carried you. When logic failed, you leaned into trust. When comfort vanished, you leaned into faith. You've discovered that God's silence often holds more wisdom than His words. In that quiet, He rewired your motives, purified your desires, and strengthened your resolve. You learned to walk without sight, to believe without evidence, to love without reward. The silent season trained your spirit to hear in new frequencies. When heaven hides its sound, it sharpens your discernment. You start recognizing divine whispers in ordinary moments, in the rustling of leaves, in the rhythm of rain, in the stillness of your soul. You start hearing what others miss because your ears have been tuned by waiting. In the silence, you also met yourself. You faced the fears you buried under busyness. You confronted doubts that were disguised as distractions. You realized that your greatest enemy was not the devil, it was discouragement. But now, that voice has lost its grip. You have learned to answer despair with declaration. I still believe. God's quietness didn't mean disinterest, it meant intimacy. Only those He trusts deeply can handle His silence. The noise of the world had to fade so you could hear His heartbeat. He was teaching you that faith doesn't need constant confirmation. Real faith grows in the dark, watered by unseen tears and nourished by hope that refuses to die. Chosen one. The silence also separated you. While others rushed ahead chasing opportunities, you stayed behind to wait on divine timing. That waiting refined you. It removed impatience, pride, and the hunger for validation. Now, you move with heaven's rhythm, not human urgency. The silence forged discernment within you. Now you can sense the counterfeit before it even speaks. There is a sacred beauty in being still. The world values speed, but heaven values surrender. In the stillness, your spirit matured. You stopped begging for doors to open and started blessing the ones that closed. You stopped asking, "Why me?" and began to whisper, "Use me." That is the shift heaven was waiting for. Beloved, understand this: every silent season has an expiration date. God never withholds forever. When the lesson is complete, the silence will break. And when he speaks again, his words will carry the weight of all that waiting. You will hear his voice differently now, clearer, stronger, deeper, because your heart has been trained to listen without demanding. So, do not resent the quiet. Cherish it. It was the crucible where your spirit was refined, the place where heaven's approval was written in invisible ink. You are emerging from that silence not weaker, but wiser. You now know the language of heaven. Trust. Chosen one. There came a moment when heaven fell silent, not because you were forsaken, but because your faith was being measured. Every unanswered prayer, every delay, every closed door became a divine scale. You didn't know it, but heaven was watching how you would react when nothing moved. The absence of sound was not a punishment, it was a proving ground. You prayed, and it seemed the sky swallowed your words. You asked, and no echo came back. Still, you stayed. You didn't curse the stillness, you whispered hope into it. That's what separates the chosen from the common, the ability to keep believing when heaven whispers nothing back. It was in that hush that your faith found its true voice. Not the loud declarations made in excitement, but the quiet endurance whispered through tears. That is where your strength was revealed, in the waiting, in the silence, in the still yes that your heart kept saying even when your eyes saw no reason. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. That verse became your reality. You stopped walking by what you saw and began walking by what you believed. When doors stayed closed, you kept knocking. When heaven paused, you kept praying. You didn't realize it, but each moment of silence was a seed planted in the soil of time, waiting for divine rain. Heaven's silence is never empty, it's filled with instruction. God's quiet doesn't mean he isn't working. It means he's teaching you to trust his presence more than his performance. You learn to discern that still, holy pulse beneath the quiet. Even when you couldn't trace his hand, you trusted his heart. Every delay had a reason. Sometimes God holds back answers to protect you from outcomes you can't yet carry. He was maturing you in the pause, building spiritual muscles that only resistance can form. You were learning endurance, patience. Surrender, the qualities that form giants in the kingdom. You didn't lose your faith in the silence, you found it. When you felt nothing, saw nothing, heard nothing, you discovered that faith was never about feelings, but about choice. You chose to keep believing. That decision alone shook hell's foundations, because the enemy cannot understand a soul that praises in silence. Beloved chosen one, think of how far you've come. The old you would have panicked, but now you've learned to breathe in the stillness. You used to demand answers, now you simply rest in assurance. You've matured beyond needing constant signs. Heaven calls that growth. There are angels who marvel at the kind of faith you now walk in, the kind that doesn't need noise to know God is near. You've walked through shadows and discovered that even there, light exists. You've prayed in drought and discovered that even then, grace flows. You've learned that waiting time is not wasted time, it's transformation time. Heaven tested you through silence because silence exposes motives. When the miracles pause, only the genuine stay. You stayed. You didn't serve for applause. You served out of love. You didn't pray for reward. You prayed because your soul couldn't survive without His presence. That's why heaven is impressed with your heart. It beats in sync with the rhythm of divine trust. Now listen, there's a subtle shift happening. The stillness that once felt heavy is starting to lift. The wind of heaven is stirring again. Not because you begged for it, but because you've proven you can be trusted with it. You have learned that God's timing is perfect even when it's prolonged. This season will be remembered as the chapter where your faith grew wings. You are no longer moved by silence, you are stabilized by it. You have learned to make stillness your sanctuary, not your sentence. Every tear has watered something sacred. Every moment of waiting has written endurance into your spirit's DNA. And now, as you read these words, heaven whispers, "Well done." The test of silence is almost over. The sound that returns will not just comfort you, it will commission you. When heaven speaks again, it will speak promotion before you move on. Pause right here. Breathe. Reflect on how you've survived what should have silenced you. That's not ordinary resilience, that's divine evidence. You have not been waiting in vain. You've been waiting with purpose. Now, to seal this truth in your spirit, I want you to do something symbolic. Go to the comments and write, "I still believe." Write it not for me, but as a declaration to heaven and a defiance to hell. When you type those words, you're not just commenting, you're confessing, you're telling the unseen realms that silence has not stolen your faith. You're announcing that, even without visible proof, your trust remains unbroken because that's what chosen ones do. They believe when belief makes no sense. They hold on when others let go. They keep the flame alive in the night until dawn breaks again. Heaven saw your endurance. Heaven heard your silence. Heaven is about to respond. Chosen one, there were moments when the temptation to give up felt stronger than the will to keep going. You told yourself, maybe I misunderstood God. You questioned if all the sacrifice, all the patience, all the waiting had any meaning left. The weight of unanswered prayers pressed down like a stone on your chest. Yet, somehow you kept breathing. You kept moving forward slowly, quietly, faithfully. That was not weakness. That was worship. When quitting looked logical, your persistence became a fragrance that reached heaven. You didn't see it, but each step you took in exhaustion, each tear you wiped in silence, each time you chose hope over despair, it was all counted as holy endurance. Heaven records persistence like the world records success. What the world calls failure, heaven calls faith. Every time you whispered, "Lord, I'll still trust you," when nothing seemed worth trusting, the angels took note. That whisper, that trembling yes was louder in the spirit than any song sung in comfort. You showed God something He treasures more than talent, loyalty. Faith that refuses to bow to weariness becomes the anthem of those heaven crowns. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. You didn't realize that while you were trying to hold everything together, heaven was already fighting battles you couldn't see. In moments when you thought you were losing, the truth was that victory was being arranged behind the scenes. You didn't have to be strong all the time, just still enough to let God prove that He was. When you almost quit, grace caught you. When you nearly broke, mercy held you together. Every step that felt like stumbling was actually a sacred stride forward in faith. The weight you carried was not punishment. It was proof that you were trusted with a calling that few could bear. You thought you were surviving, but in reality, you were being strengthened. The pain that tried to crush you was building a deeper foundation for your destiny. Every tear watered something eternal. Every sleepless night carved wisdom into your spirit. Every disappointment became a hidden altar where heaven met your endurance. Sometimes God allows the pressure to stay not to destroy you, but to shape you. He presses the clay before he presents the vessel. The heat you endured was never random, it was refining. You were learning that giving up is easy, but growing up in grace is holy. You carried the temptation like a weight, but you never gave it power. The thought of quitting whispered, but your soul answered back with faith. Even when you said, "I can't take another step," something in you kept walking. That something was divine strength, proof that God was working within you even when you couldn't feel him around you. Every time you faced exhaustion and still chose to rise, you mirrored the endurance of the saints who walked before you. Heaven looks upon those moments not with judgment, but with admiration. God knows what it costs to keep believing in pain. He knows what it takes to keep walking in fog. That's why he treasures your perseverance. It proves that love has taken root. Beloved, understand this perseverance is heaven's language of maturity. Anyone can praise when blessings flow, but it takes a chosen one to praise through breaking. The harder the road, the deeper the revelation. You've discovered that the absence of ease doesn't mean the absence of God. Sometimes he hides in the hardship so you can learn how to find him in the dark. You have walked through valleys that others avoided, yet your spirit still shines. That's evidence of grace. There's a peculiar light that only glows in those who have suffered and refuse to quit. You are one of them, the rare kind who keeps believing when believing burns. When temptation whispered, "Let it go, stop trying," heaven whispered louder, "Hold on, help is coming," and it did. The fact that you are reading this right now is proof that you didn't lose your war, you simply outlasted it. The enemy's greatest weapon was discouragement, but you dismantled it with endurance. Chosen one. The test of perseverance reveals identity. You now know who you are, one who does not bow to pressure, one who does not bend to despair. You carry scars that sing of survival, not defeat. You may have walked slowly, but you never walked away, and heaven counts that as victory. Let this truth settle deep within you. The Lord was never testing your strength. He was proving his own strength through you. The reason you could not give up was because the spirit within refused to surrender. You thought it was your resilience, but it was his power keeping you upright. The moment you chose to stay faithful in fatigue, you stepped into a divine rhythm. Now, heaven calls you steadfast. The angels know your name, not because of miracles, but because of your endurance. You are marked not by perfection, but by perseverance. Chosen one. Now you understand those trials were never punishments. They were weights on heaven's scale, measuring not what you possessed, but who you had become. You were being weighed not in gold or glory, but in humility, mercy, and truth. Every hardship revealed your worth. Every delay refined your depth. You were being measured for a mantle far greater than you imagined. When you walked through rejection, heaven observed how you handled it. Did you retaliate, or did you release when doors shut? God watched whether you cursed the door or thanked the keeper. Each reaction became a record of your readiness. You thought you were losing opportunities, but heaven was checking whether your heart was pure enough to handle blessing without pride. Heaven's scales are not visible, yet they are unshakable. The weights are patience, kindness, and obedience. The measures are love and trust. God tested you quietly, as a goldsmith tests metal in fire. If it melts and reforms beautifully, It is ready for a higher use. That's what happened to you. You melted under pressure, but you didn't lose your shape, you found your purpose. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 8, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." That purity is not perfection, it's sincerity. It's when you do good even when no one is watching, when you give without seeking thanks, when you serve because you love, not because you want recognition. The world doesn't see that, but heaven weighs it carefully. You have been weighed and not found wanting. The tests you endured were scales of heaven's justice, measuring not your performance, but your posture. And now, heaven has balanced the scale in your favor. Think of a farmer who plants in the dark, covering his seeds beneath cold soil. To the untrained eye, it looks like burial, but the farmer knows its birth. That's how heaven saw your hidden obedience. Every unseen act of faith was a seed. The soil was heavy, but it was holy. You were buried only so you could bloom. Or think of a musician tuning an instrument before a grand symphony. Every twist of the string creates tension, but without it, there can be no harmony. That's what God was doing in your life, tightening, aligning, stretching so that when the music of destiny plays, you sound perfectly in tune with heaven's rhythm. Beloved, your tests were not to break you, they were to balance you. The more weight you carried in pain, the greater your capacity for compassion. The deeper your sorrow, the broader your understanding of grace. You now carry empathy where bitterness once lived. And now that you've come this far, hear this truth: your story isn't meant to stay hidden. What you've learned in silence is meant to strengthen others in struggle. You've walked through fire, now you carry flame. You are not just a survivor, you are a torchbearer. And torches are meant to light others' paths. That's why, if these words resonate with your soul, I invite you gently share them. Let someone else know that their weight has meaning. Sometimes the person next to you is one sentence away from giving up. A simple share can become a lifeline. If this message reminded you of who you are, press like, not for numbers, but as a sign of agreement, a way of saying, yes, I receive this truth. When you engage, then you are helping the message of light reach others who sit in darkness. And if your heart feels stirred to subscribe, know that it isn't about building a following, it's about building a family of faith. Each new connection is another light added to heaven's constellation of chosen ones on earth. Together, we carry the sound of awakening. And for those who feel led, if your spirit whispers to donate, do so only as your heart feels peace. Let it not be out of obligation, but out of gratitude. Think of it as sowing into the soil that once fed your soul. Just as the farmer plants in expectation of harvest, your giving becomes a seed that continues the cycle of hope for others. Every offering fuels more words, more healing, more light released into a weary world. Beloved, you have been weighed and found faithful. The scale has tipped toward grace. The very storms that tested you have now become proof of your divine worth. You may not see the crown yet, but heaven has already placed it in motion. The weight you carried was heaven's way of preparing your shoulders to wear glory. So walk forward lightly now. The test is behind you, the balance complete. You are not empty, you are enriched. You are not broken, you are balanced. The scales of heaven declare it: you have passed through fire and come out pure. And from this moment, every step you take carries the fragrance of one who has been proven trustworthy in the courts of eternity. Chosen one, the fire you walked through wasn't meant to consume you, it was meant to clarify you. The heat that nearly broke you was never about destruction, but purification. Every spark of pain, every burning disappointment, Every moment that seared your heart, it all had purpose. You were being refined, not rejected. Heaven was removing the residue of fear, doubt, and dependence on others' approval. The refining fire is not the enemy, it is the evidence that heaven still sees value in you. Gold is never thrown into the furnace because it's worthless, it's placed there because it's precious. You, too, were placed in the fire because God saw something in you that could only be revealed under pressure. The flames you feared were the same flames that forged your future. Heaven speaks clearly through the words. In Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 2, remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years, to humble and test you in order to know what was in your heart. You may have thought you were losing everything, but heaven was exchanging it. The things you lost in the flames were never meant to last. The friendships that faded, the doors that closed, the opportunities that vanished, they were ashes necessary for new growth. You cannot hold both the ashes of your past and the anointing of your future. The fire forced you to choose, and you chose right. Beloved, your endurance under pressure has redefined you. You no longer react the way you used to. The same things that once shook you now strengthen you. You've learned to stand in the middle of chaos and whisper, "Still, I will trust you." You've become proof that God's grace doesn't always take you out of the fire, it keeps you alive within it. Think of a blacksmith working on a sword. He places the metal into the hottest part of the flame, not to destroy it, but to make it flexible enough to shape. Every time he pulls it out, he pounds it hard. Sparks fly and the sound is violent. But after every strike, the blade becomes stronger, sharper, and more balanced. That's what God has done in your life. Every hardship, every heartbreak, every blow, it was forging your edge. You were being prepared to cut through deception and carry truth. Do you see it now? The same fire that tried to end you became the tool that empowered you. You didn't burn, you transformed. You've become luminous, carrying a glow that darkness cannot comprehend. Your scars now shimmer with purpose. They are no longer signs of pain, but signatures of divine craftsmanship. You are not just a survivor of the fire, you are its masterpiece. You walk with the warmth of one who knows what it costs to be chosen. You carry compassion for those still in the flames because you remember what it felt like to scream for help and hear only the crackle of fire. But now, you can tell them the truth. You will not be consumed. You are being refined. Beloved, the refining process is nearly complete. The fire that once frightened you now bows to your endurance. You have walked through seasons that scorched others, yet your faith remains intact. Heaven calls that evidence of divine preservation. And now, as you stand at the edge of a new chapter, heaven gives you a prophetic sign. You have come through fire, but not alone. The fourth figure that stood with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in Babylon's furnace stands with you even now. His presence has been the secret behind your survival all along. So, as an act of faith right now, type 333 in the comments. Not as a superstition, but as a prophetic declaration. 3 is the number of divine completeness, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Writing 333 means you recognize that heaven's fire is never meant to destroy, it is meant to complete. When you comment it, you're saying, "The fire didn't break me, it branded me for purpose." Let those numbers speak louder than your fear. Let them be your public testimony that what tried to burn you has only built you. You are refined, radiant, and ready. The fire has done its work, and heaven is pleased. Chosen one. Heaven took note of everything you did when no one was watching. Every unseen act of obedience, every quiet moment of forgiveness, every sacrifice you made in silence was recorded in eternal memory. Nothing escaped heaven's sight, not one prayer, not one tear, not one surrender. You thought your good deeds disappeared into the dark, but they became radiant entries in heaven's archives. You see, God doesn't measure your devotion by how loudly you serve when others are looking. He measures it by how purely you love when no one is clapping. You didn't serve for applause. You served because you couldn't ignore the voice of love within you. You didn't give because you wanted to be noticed. You gave because you understood what it felt like to need grace. There is a special kind of obedience that only shines in secret, the kind that heaven rewards openly. When you helped others who could never repay you. When you prayed for people who hurt you. When you smiled through exhaustion so someone else could have hope, those moments moved heaven more than any grand gesture ever could. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 10. I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind, to reward each person according to their conduct, according to what their deeds deserve. That means heaven keeps records, perfect ones. Records not to accuse you, but to affirm you. God doesn't forget the nights you stayed up interceding for others. He remembers the mornings you rose tired but still whispered, "Use me today." He saw the times you resisted bitterness and chose kindness. You were being documented in eternity, even when you felt invisible on earth. You've lived through seasons where no one said thank you, yet heaven did. Every small yes you gave became a building block in your divine legacy. Others may have overlooked you, but angels wrote your name on scrolls of remembrance. You have no idea how many blessings have been scheduled in your future because of what you sowed in secret. Heaven doesn't miss a thing. When you forgave that betrayal without retaliation, when you gave from the little you had, when you refused to gossip though others did, all those decisions created ripples that reached beyond time. There are souls walking freely now because of your quiet obedience. The world applauds the visible, but heaven crowns the invisible. God never asked you to impress, He asked you to obey. The applause of earth fades, but the records of heaven endure forever. You may have felt unseen, but you were never unnoticed. The King of Kings has been writing your story in golden ink. There is a sacred beauty in serving unseen. The hidden places are where true power grows. Roots go deep before fruit appears. You have been like a seed beneath the soil, buried but not forgotten. God planted you in obscurity so that when you rise, no one will mistake your growth for luck. It will be obvious this was divine design. Sometimes, heaven delays public recognition to protect you from premature exposure. If people had praised you too early, you might have settled for their applause instead of heaven's anointing. So, God hid you. He let others be celebrated while He secretly developed your depth. Now you understand what looked like isolation was preservation. Beloved, never despise the seasons when your name isn't called. Those are the moments when heaven is engraving it in places human voices cannot reach. You've learned to work in silence, to love without reward, to serve without spotlight. That's maturity. That's holiness in motion. And now, heaven's archives are full because of you. Every prayer has a page. Every act of kindness has an entry. Every tear has a timestamp. The heavenly records are not sterile files, they are living testimonies. Songs of faith written in the ink of endurance. Soon, God will open those records and reveal what He saw. Others will wonder how favor found you so suddenly, not knowing it's simply the harvest of hidden obedience. You have built credit in the courts of heaven, and the time for divine payout draws near. But for now, rest in this truth: you are seen, you are remembered, you are treasured. Heaven has noted everything you thought was forgotten. Your obedience echoes beyond time. The reward may not come in applause, but it will come in abundance, peace that doesn't fade, joy that doesn't depend on circumstance, provision that flows from unseen places. Chosen one, you are heaven's documented faith. The pages of your story are filled with obedience, humility, and quiet strength. One day, when the books are opened before all creation, your name will shine not because of titles or achievements, but because you were faithful when no one watched. Chosen one. Do you remember that moment when you could have chosen darkness, but instead you chose light? It didn't happen on a stage, under bright lights, or with an audience applauding. It happened quietly. In a moment no one noticed but heaven. The temptation was real. The pain was sharp. The easier road was open before you, but something holy within whispered, "No." That whisper was the turning point of your destiny. You didn't realize that your single act of surrender was a pivot in the unseen. Heaven leaned closer when you made that decision. The universe, for one still moment, watched you step away from what was wrong, from what was comfortable, from what was counterfeit, and step toward what was true. Every chosen one faces that hour, the crossroads where obedience hurts more than disobedience. It is there that heaven measures the heart. You could have chosen bitterness, but you chose forgiveness. You could have chosen silence, but you chose truth. You could have chosen vengeance, but you chose grace. That moment became your proof, as the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 3, verse 19. "The sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the deer's. He enables me to tread on the heights." That is what happened in your spirit. You were lifted not by luck, but by loyalty. You began to move on higher ground, not because the path became easy, but because your heart became aligned. The Lord strengthened your footing when your world was shaking. What others thought would destroy you became the very thing that distinguished you. Even when the wrong choice promised quick comfort, you chose the long obedience, and that decision changed the trajectory of your life. That single yes to righteousness rewrote future chapters you haven't yet lived. You broke cycles of pain that ran through generations. You stopped patterns that would have stolen your peace. You silenced curses that tried to echo through your bloodline. When you chose light, heaven celebrated, because light multiplies. One act of obedience releases waves of illumination far beyond what you can see. Someone else will walk in freedom because you stood in faith. Someone else will believe again because you refused to break. The ripples of your decision move through time like sacred echoes. You didn't just choose correctly, you chose courageously. Light is not the easy way, it's the eternal one. And light always costs something. It costs comfort, reputation, sometimes even relationships. But it gives something greater. It gives clarity, peace, and power. You now carry a radiance that darkness can no longer imitate. Every test of temptation was actually a stage where heaven displayed your transformation. The old you would have fought differently, spoken differently, loved differently. But the new you, the one refined through silence and fire, responded like one who knows their calling. You no longer act from impulse. You act from identity. The more you chose light, the more familiar heaven became. You began to sense divine presence not only in worship, but in everyday decisions, in the pause before replying, in the mercy before judgment, in the patience before action. That's how the Spirit moves, not only in miracles, but in moments of moral clarity. And now, because of that choice, your atmosphere has changed. You walk into rooms and peace follows. You speak and hearts settle. You pray and storms quiet. Why? Because light doesn't need to announce itself, it simply changes everything it touches. The forces that once hunted your joy can no longer locate you. You have shifted realms. You dwell in obedience now, and that place is covered by divine fire. The light you chose became your armor. What used to wound you now warns others that you are untouchable, not because of pride, but because of purity. Beloved, never underestimate the power of a single righteous choice. Heaven builds kingdoms upon them. The enemy trembles at them. God delights in them. Your one yes to light did more for eternity than 1,000 empty gestures of religion. That is why you felt such resistance before you made that decision. The enemy always fights hardest at the door to destiny. But you didn't bow. You stood your ground, trembling perhaps, but immovable. You passed through temptation not as a perfect one, but as a faithful one. And heaven's record shows it, a divine check mark beside your name, written in light itself. That moment, your decision to choose light didn't just impress heaven, it altered it. New assignments were released. New favor was written into your timeline. The moment you said yes to the narrow road, heaven widened your destiny. Chosen one. Heaven is no longer whispering, it is declaring. The season of testing is closing, and the sound of divine approval is filling the atmosphere around you. You have endured the silence, the refining, the loneliness, and the fire. You have proven that your heart remains anchored even when the waves rise high. And now, the examiner himself has stepped forward not to test, but to testify. This is the moment when heaven begins to speak on your behalf. Every tear, every trial, every quiet prayer that ascended like incense is now returning as rain. You are stepping into a season where heaven's yes will echo through open doors, unexpected favor, and restored peace. The long night is over. The first light of divine approval is breaking through. As was spoken in the ancient texts of old, Psalm chapter 30, verse 5, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Heaven's approval is not like human praise. It doesn't arrive with applause, it arrives with alignment. Things that once resisted you begin to cooperate. People who once overlooked you begin to notice. Paths that were once blocked suddenly open as though they were waiting for heaven's permission. This is divine orchestration, not coincidence. When heaven approves you, it doesn't need to explain why. It simply begins to move everything around you into harmony. Circumstances shift, timing aligns, and even delays become divine choreography. Heaven's yes does not sound like noise, it sounds like peace. Chosen one, this moment is not just a change of season, it's a change of sound. The same God who once tested your patience is now celebrating your endurance. Where there was silence, there is now melody. Where there was pressure, there is now power. You are stepping into the resonance of heaven's satisfaction. You will feel it before you see it. That subtle stirring in your spirit. That unusual peace in your chest. That clarity in your thoughts, it's heaven's way of confirming you are approved. Not because you were flawless, but because you were faithful. The test wasn't about performance, it was about posture. Would you stay humble under hardship? Would you remain kind under criticism? Would you still serve under silence? And you did. That's why heaven speaks your name now not as a lesson, but as a legacy. When divine approval is released, it carries weight. It draws favor like gravity. People will begin to sense something different about you without knowing why. The same presence that once preserved you in hiddenness now presents you with honor. You won't have to announce it, your peace will preach it. Beloved, understand that this divine declaration comes with new responsibility. Heaven's approval isn't just a reward, it's a release. You are being authorized to carry what others cannot because your heart has been proven pure. The anointing that flows now will have power, not performance. Your words will heal. Your presence will calm. Your actions will echo eternity. But before you step further, pause here. Let this sink in. You have God's approval, and not because of perfection, not because of pedigree, but because of perseverance. That approval is the oil that will light every future assignment. It's the invisible crown that rests upon your head, marking you as one who endured and emerged radiant. So now, in this moment of recognition, I invite you to make a declaration not to me, but to the heavens. Go to the comments and write, "I am seen." Write it slowly, deliberately, as a proclamation of identity. When you type those 3 words, you're not speaking to the algorithm, you're speaking to your atmosphere. You're reminding your own heart that heaven's eyes never left you, that even when the world overlooked you, God was documenting every step. I am seen means I am known, I am chosen, and I am approved. Let those words echo through your spirit. They will become an anchor for you in the days ahead when doubt tries to creep back in. When you see others rising faster or shining brighter, whisper again, "I am seen." Because heaven's timeline for you is perfect, never late, never rushed. This season, favor won't feel forced. It will flow naturally. You won't have to chase, you'll simply attract. That's the mark of approval. You move, and heaven moves with you. Chosen one, take a breath. Feel that peace surrounding you. It's heaven's way of saying, "Well done." The test is ending, but the testimony is just beginning. You have been examined, refined, and approved. And from this moment forward, divine endorsement follows you wherever you go. You are seen. You are chosen. You are enough. Chosen one. Heaven is placing something unseen upon your head, a crown not made of gold, but of endurance. It is light enough for grace to carry, yet heavy enough to remind you of what it cost. Every tear, every trial, every sleepless night became the jewels that now adorn this invisible crown. You didn't earn it by striving, you received it by surviving. The crown of endurance is heaven's highest honor. It is not handed to the strong, but to the steadfast, to those who stood when the wind screamed and the ground trembled. To those who didn't understand the plan, but still trusted the planner. You, beloved, are one of those rare souls we find in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, for having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life the Lord has promised. Now heaven leans close to crown you, and as that invisible glory settles over you, your spirit stands taller. You begin to realize you are not the same person who entered the storm. You are refined metal, tempered glass, aged wine. You have substance now, not just shine. The world crowns achievement, but heaven crowns endurance. Kings and queens of the Spirit are not made in palaces, they are made in prisons, deserts, and wildernesses. You earned your crown when you refused to curse God in the cave, when you prayed with trembling hands, when you worshiped through disappointment. You didn't know it then, but angels stood around you, marking that moment of unseen victory. And now, beloved, that same heaven gently whispers, wear your crown without apology. You've carried your cross, now carry your calling, and the same pain that once pressed you now polishes you. Let the light within reflect through your scars, they are proof of your process. Think of a potter holding a vessel. Every spin of the wheel, every press of the hand, every moment in the kiln, it all contributes to perfection. You, too, were on the potter's wheel. Each season was a turn, each hardship a press, each silence a shaping. Now you stand firm, glazed in grace, ready to hold the oil of heaven without cracking. And dear chosen one, if this message finds resonance in your spirit, let your response become part of the ministry. When you like these words, you're not simply tapping a screen, you're pressing a seal on your agreement with heaven's truth. It's your way of saying, "Yes, Lord, I receive my crown." When you share, you become the messenger. You're handing someone else the key you just used to unlock your peace. Somewhere, another weary soul is about to give up, and your share may become the light that leads them home. If your heart feels drawn to subscribe, think of it as taking a place among the fellowship of the proven ones. Each subscription is not about numbers, it's about nurture. Together, we become a gathering of those who have walked through fire and now carry flame. Every new heart that joins this space expands the circle of light that defies the darkness of our age. And to those whose spirit stirs deeper, if you feel led to donate, do it as worship, not as obligation. Donations in this flow are not transactions, they're transformations. Think of it like pouring water into the same river that once quenched your thirst. What you give circulates, fueling messages, reaching the hidden, healing the hopeless. Every drop counts, every act echoes. This isn't about giving money, it's about giving momentum to light. You're not funding words, you're feeding souls. Your generosity becomes the bridge between a wounded heart and the whisper of heaven. That's what partnership looks like in the kingdom. Chosen one, wear your crown gracefully, not to boast, but to bless. Let others see what faith forged in you. Let your endurance become evidence that God still rewards the faithful. The crown is invisible, but its weight can be felt. It tilts your head slightly downward, a reminder that true royalty still bows before the throne. And when you walk into your next season, remember this truth: endurance is not the end, it's the entry. The same God who crowned you will now commission you. The one who tested your patience will now trust your authority. So rise gently, crowned one, lift your head not in pride, but in purpose. You carry the mark of those who refuse to break. You shine with the quiet brilliance of one who knows the cost of faith. Heaven has placed its seal upon you, and earth will soon recognize it. The journey has shaped you into something sacred. And from now on, everywhere you step, heaven will echo beneath your feet. Chosen one, the atmosphere around you is shifting. You can almost feel it, the quiet stirring of divine reversal, the subtle rearranging of circumstances that once seemed immovable. The tables are turning, not because of coincidence, but because heaven has issued a command. The same winds that once opposed you are now carrying you forward. The same situations that humiliated you are about to honor you. Heaven has a way of balancing the story. The stone that was rejected becomes the cornerstone. The voice that was silenced becomes the song. You, the one overlooked, the one misunderstood, the one left behind you, are about to be remembered. What was denied will be delivered. What was stolen will be restored, and what was delayed will arrive right on divine time. The Word of God declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 7, "Instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion, and instead of disgrace, you will rejoice in your inheritance. And so you will inherit a double portion in your land, and everlasting joy will be yours." When God turns the tables, He doesn't do it quietly. He makes sure those who witnessed your struggle also witness your restoration. It is not revenge, it's revelation. He reveals the truth about His chosen ones, proving that those who seem last are often first in His eyes. The reversal won't just be external, it will be internal. The fear that once haunted you will now become discernment. The rejection that once crushed you will now become fuel for purpose. You will look at old wounds and no longer feel pain, only wisdom. Heaven's justice doesn't always remove the scar. It transforms it into a mark of glory. Beloved, when the tables turn, it won't be sudden chaos, it will be divine choreography. What seems accidental will actually be alignment. The same door that slammed in your face will open at the exact moment you're ready to walk through it. The same people who doubted you will need what you carry. The same place that hurt you will host your healing. Do not gloat when the shift begins. Remember, humility sustains what pride destroys. The purpose of the reversal is not to make you proud, it's to make you powerful for good. You will be trusted with influence not for vengeance, but for restoration. Heaven promotes the healed, not the vengeful. That is why your process took so long. God was ensuring your heart could handle honor. Every no in your past has been repurposed into a not yet. Every setback was a setup, every delay a disguise for development. The tables turn slowly so that your character can catch up with your calling. Now the time has come, the banquet is being prepared, and your seat is being set. Remember when they said you were finished? Heaven called that moment the beginning. Remember when they said you didn't qualify? Heaven called it a divine setup for testimony. Remember when you were mocked for believing in promises that hadn't yet appeared? Heaven called you faithful. When God reverses a story, He doesn't just change outcomes, He changes perspectives. Those who once pitied you will now praise the God who sustained you. Those who once left you out will now reach out. The same environments that felt hostile will become holy ground. That's the mystery of divine justice. It turns the ashes of affliction into altars of anointing. And you, chosen one, will walk differently in this new season. Not with arrogance, but with assurance. You will no longer chase validation. Validation will follow you. You will no longer explain yourself. Your fruit will speak for you. The tables have turned, and your life will soon preach what your mouth never had to. When you see it happen, stay steady. Remember who turned the tables. Remember who lifted you. The purpose of the shift is not personal comfort, but divine commission. You are being positioned where your story will give others permission to believe again. Your testimony will be the evidence that faith still works, that integrity still matters, that light always wins. Chosen one, the turning of the tables is not coming, it has begun. You may feel it subtly, like the first hint of dawn after the longest night. Things are rearranging, the right people are noticing, the right doors are unlocking, and you, who once stood in the shadows, are now stepping into the light, not to be seen, but to shine. Heaven smiles, not because justice is revenge, but because mercy has completed its work. You are no longer the same person who suffered. You are the proof that endurance rewrites stories. The tables have turned, and this time, you sit where grace prepared you long before anyone else believed you would belong. Chosen one, there is a new fragrance surrounding your life, the fragrance of integrity rewarded. You have walked through storms without bitterness, served without spotlight, obeyed without recognition, and now heaven is opening its storehouses. What once seemed delayed is suddenly being delivered. What once seemed denied is being divinely released. This is the reward of integrity, favor that follows faithfulness. Integrity is heaven's currency. It cannot be bought, borrowed, or imitated. It is formed in quiet decisions, the ones you made when no one was watching. You didn't compromise, even when compromise looked convenient. You didn't manipulate, even when manipulation could have made things easier. You didn't bow to shortcuts. And heaven took note of that restraint, for integrity is the rare language heaven speaks fluently. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 10, verse 9, Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out. Integrity isn't just morality, it's spiritual strength. It's what allows you to hold blessings without being broken by them. God withholds certain gifts until the heart can handle the weight of glory without bending. That's why He took His time with you. He wasn't punishing you. He was protecting your legacy. Think of a house built on stone and another built on sand. The one on sand looks faster, easier, cheaper, but when storms come, it crumbles. You, chosen one, are the house on the rock. The storms that tried to expose you have instead revealed your foundation. You've proven that what you build with truth cannot be torn down by lies. Heaven celebrates not the loud, but the loyal. Your quiet integrity has drawn the gaze of God Himself. While others climbed ladders, you built altars. While others chased crowns, you chose character. And now, what once looked like a delay was actually divine endorsement in disguise. Integrity always attracts attention, but not from men first, from heaven. Before Joseph ever stood before Pharaoh, he stood before temptation and said no. Before Daniel was honored in a foreign palace, he was faithful in private prayer. Before David ever wore a crown, he protected sheep no one else cared about. You stand in that same lineage, the ones who chose truth over comfort, and now, chosen one, heaven is responding. The gates that were once closed are creaking open, not because you forced them, but because your integrity unlocked them. You will soon walk through opportunities others lost, not because you are more talented, but because you were trustworthy. Integrity opens doors that ambition never could. The reward of integrity is peace pure, lasting peace. You no longer need to pretend, perform, or prove. The truth itself is your defense. You can rest knowing that what God builds on truth will never collapse under pressure. That's why your blessings will last, because they were built on obedience, not opportunism. There's a quiet authority resting on you now. You don't have to raise your voice. Your presence already carries weight. Those who once overlooked you will begin to seek your counsel. They'll feel the stability in your spirit and not know why they're drawn to you. It's because integrity emits a frequency heaven recognizes and earth responds to. You may not see it yet, but the reward is already active. The resources are aligning, the people are being positioned, and the timing is coming together. Your consistency has created momentum in the unseen. The same God who saw you resist compromise in private is preparing to honor you in public. But remember, integrity must remain even after reward. This is not the end of testing, it's the beginning of stewardship. The same honesty that carried you through obscurity will now carry you through influence. Keep your motives pure. Keep your words truthful. Keep your hands clean. Integrity is not a season, it's a signature. And now, as you receive this revelation, I invite you to mark this moment prophetically. Go to the comments and type 888, not as a ritual, but as recognition. 8 is the number of new beginnings, and 3 8s, 888, signify divine renewal, new authority, and multiplied blessing. When you type it, you're declaring that integrity has opened your new beginning. You're agreeing with heaven's rhythm that what begins in truth will end in triumph. Let that number be your symbol of covenant that you will continue to walk in honesty, even when no one is watching. That your integrity will remain your armor, your altar, and your anthem. Chosen one, your reward is already unfolding. You have passed the test of character, and now heaven trusts you with more. Walk forward in confidence, for integrity is your inheritance, and your inheritance cannot be stolen. Chosen one, the sound you hear now is not the echo of your pain, it is the voice of heaven proclaiming, "Well done." This is not imagination or coincidence, It is the resonance of divine commendation. You have reached a sacred threshold where the tests of endurance become the testimony of faith. Heaven's tone has changed from silence to celebration. There are moments when the Creator himself speaks not through thunder, but through the deep knowing that settles into your spirit, the awareness that you are no longer striving for approval, because you already have it. The weight of his pleasure rests upon you like sunlight at dawn, gentle, warm, undeniable. As the apostle wrote to the Corinthians, 1 Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 58. Therefore, my beloved brothers and sisters, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. None of it was in vain. Every sacrifice, every step of obedience, every sleepless night of prayer, it all counted. The hours that felt wasted became sacred investments in eternity. The seasons that seemed silent were pregnant with unseen progress. Heaven does not overlook effort born out of love. When God commends someone, it's not just verbal, it's visible. The commendation manifests as clarity, confidence, and divine calm. You start to move with assurance, not arrogance. The anxieties that once haunted you begin to dissolve because you finally know you are seen, heard, and approved. Heaven's commendation is different from human praise. Praise fades with attention. Commendation remains as covenant. It is not earned through perfection, but through perseverance. And you have persevered. You stood when others stumbled. You believed when evidence disappeared. You loved when love was not returned. Heaven calls that greatness, beloved. When God speaks well of you, creation listens. The same word that formed galaxies now forms favor around your life. The same voice that split seas now clears pathways for you. This is not poetic exaggeration, it's divine law. Heaven's commendation is creative, it changes realities. The moment you were commended, the spiritual climate around you began to shift. Resistance lost authority. Delays lost power. You were given new spiritual credentials, unseen yet unmistakable. Angels recognize them. Darkness respects them. Your name, once whispered in prayer, now carries weight in heavenly courts. You might not feel it at first. The change often starts quietly, like dawn spreading across a sleeping world. But soon, you'll notice where there was once confusion, there is clarity. Where there was once striving, there is flow. Heaven's well done is not just affirmation, it's activation. It authorizes you to move in greater purpose. You are stepping into a phase where your words carry more authority because they've been purified in truth. Your prayers will pierce faster because they're aligned with heaven's will. Your presence will bring peace because you've become a vessel of the God who commended you. The commendation didn't make you proud, it made you pure. Think of Noah, building an ark while the world mocked him. He wasn't applauded during the construction. The commendation came when the storm proved him right. Or consider Mary, who carried the promise in her womb while facing misunderstanding. Heaven's approval covered her even when human eyes judged her. That's what you carry now, divine affirmation in a world that may never understand. You've reached a point where silence no longer hurts, because you've learned that validation from heaven outweighs recognition from people. You don't need applause when you have anointing. You don't need confirmation when you have conviction. That's freedom, the kind that no opinion can take away. Heaven's commendation also brings rest, so not the rest of inactivity, but the rest of assurance. You no longer run frantically trying to prove yourself. You walk steadily, knowing who goes before you. Your steps have rhythm now because they follow the heartbeat of God. Beloved, understand this sacred truth when heaven commends you. It's not the end of your journey, it's the endorsement to begin a higher one. Commendation is not conclusion, it's commissioning. The well done is the signal that you're ready for what's next. You've graduated from one level of testing into another of trust. You've been entrusted with more responsibility, more revelation, more reach. And you will carry it not as a burden, but as a blessing. The same hand that tested your heart now strengthens it. The same eyes that watched you weep now watch you rise. The same voice that called you out of darkness now calls you into destiny. Chosen one. This is your moment of recognition, not public, but spiritual. The Father himself has spoken over you, well done, faithful one. The words echo beyond time, weaving through eternity, marking you as his. Let that truth settle into your soul. You don't need to chase what is already written in heaven's record. You are commended. You are affirmed. You are trusted. Heaven has said your name, and nothing can undo that decree. Chosen one. What stands before you now are doors no man can shut. They are not ordinary openings, they are divine thresholds, crafted specifically for your hands. Every test, every tear, every sleepless night was preparation for this very moment. You've proven your faithfulness in small things. And now heaven entrusts you with greater things. The locks that resisted your effort before have lost their power because heaven himself holds the key. These doors are not just opportunities, they are assignments. Behind each one lies a purpose that requires both courage and humility. Some doors lead to people you must heal, others to places where your light will illuminate forgotten corners of despair. Each doorway glows faintly with the residue of your endurance. Every step you take through them echoes with divine approval. The voice of God thundered in the book of Revelation. Chapter 3, verse 8. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. I know that you have little strength, yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. That is the essence of your journey. You held on when strength failed. You stayed faithful when others folded. You kept his word when logic questioned it. And now, heaven honors that resilience. These open doors are not rewards for perfection, they are acknowledgments of persistence. Each door you step through will carry its own atmosphere. Some will feel like peace flowing through an open window. Others will feel like stepping into a storm. Don't be afraid of either. Peace will confirm, and resistance will refine. Sometimes heaven's doors lead straight into battlefields, not as punishment, but as proof that you are trusted with victory. Remember, the key to every divine door is not effort, but alignment. You don't have to knock frantically or push desperately. You only need to stand in obedience. When the time is right, doors open at the sound of your presence because they recognize the authority heaven has placed upon you. The world calls it favor, but heaven calls it fulfillment. Beloved, don't rush through these doors. Move reverently. Not every open path requires speed, some require sensitivity. Listen for the whisper within the wind. Some doors will demand that you speak. Others will require that you stay silent. Some will usher you into new relationships. Others will call you to release old ones. Wisdom is the guardrail for the open path. You'll know you've walked through the right door when the atmosphere feels familiar, not because you've been there before, but because it feels like home to your spirit. Peace will settle around you like a cloak. Provision will follow your footsteps. You'll sense alignment between heaven's heartbeat and your own. That is the sign of divine entry. Do not fear the scale of these opportunities. The same God who opened the doors will sustain you within them. His provision travels with his permission. You won't have to strive to keep what heaven gave freely. Grace will carry you through rooms that effort could never enter. Think of the story of Esther. One moment, she was hidden, unknown. Unseen, the next, she was standing before a king with divine purpose burning in her chest. That's how these doors work, suddenly, seamlessly, supernaturally. But just as Esther entered her open door with fasting and humility, so too must you enter with reverence and readiness. The rooms beyond these doors won't always be comfortable, but they will always be constructive. Some will stretch you, others will strengthen you. Heaven doesn't open doors for convenience, it opens them for calling. You will discover parts of yourself you never knew existed, new gifts, new depths of compassion, new measures of wisdom. But remember, this open doors are not always applauded by everyone. Some will question your access, others will misinterpret your advancement. Let them. The same God who opened the door will defend the one who walks through it. You don't need to explain divine favor to those who haven't experienced divine fire. Chosen one, you are stepping into a realm where obedience becomes opportunity. The locks are broken, the hinges oiled, and the threshold gleams with promise. Walk through boldly, not because you are worthy, but because the one who called you is. Each step is sacred, each motion a continuation of heaven's plan. And as you move forward, know this truth: no hand can close what heaven has opened. No opinion can revoke what heaven has approved. No darkness can overshadow what heaven has illuminated. The doors are yours not because you demanded them, but because you endured for them. Step forward, chosen and courageous. The sound of these doors opening is the music of destiny itself. Chosen one. Look at yourself now, the one who has endured the silence, passed through the fire, and walked through the doors. Heaven opened. You stand in a new realm, carrying something invisible yet undeniable, the mantle of the tested. It is not made of fabric or thread, but of wisdom, endurance, and divine trust. This mantle cannot be bought, borrowed, or imitated. It can only be received after one has been proven in the fire. You didn't earn it with perfection, you inherited it through perseverance. It rests on you lightly, yet it carries the weight of heaven's confidence. Wherever you walk now, you will notice that the atmosphere bends toward you, not because of fame or strength, but because your spirit bears the fragrance of one who has survived divine testing and come out glowing. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 19. Elijah went up to Elisha and threw his cloak around him. Beloved, a mantle changes everything. It doesn't make life easier, it makes life meaningful. It draws both favor and friction. Some will be drawn to your light, others may resist it, but all will recognize the authority it carries. You no longer speak from theory, you speak from testimony. Your words carry the weight of one who has walked through storms and still praises the one who controls the wind. The mantle on you is not meant to be hidden. It is meant to be used. Like a torch passed in the dark, its purpose is to light paths for others who are still searching. Each trial you endured has become a lamp in your hand. Each lesson has become a spark. You are not carrying pain anymore, you are carrying power wrapped in experience. But power without humility burns too bright and blinds others. That's why God tested you first, to ensure your fire would warm, not scorch. This mantle requires gentleness with authority, boldness with compassion. It is not a badge to wear, but a burden to bear with love. You are heaven's instrument now, and your melody matters. If these words reach your heart, pause and breathe them in. You have been trusted with something sacred. You don't have to strive to keep it, just steward it. Let the mantle flow through your actions, your words, your kindness. Let others see through you what obedience looks like in human form. And now, if this message touches your spirit, let your small gestures become part of its mission. When you like this word, you are not just reacting, you are affirming that you've received the mantle with reverence. It's a quiet nod to heaven saying, I hear, I accept, I will carry. When you share, you become a messenger. Somewhere, someone is about to give up because they think their fire means they are forgotten. Your share might be the spark that reignites their hope. You extend your own mantle for a moment, wrapping another weary soul in warmth. That's what chosen ones do. They don't just survive, they spread survival. If your heart stirs to subscribe, think of it not as joining a platform, but as standing in a circle of fire bearers, those marked by endurance, connected by purpose. Each time you return here, you return to a place where light is tended, where weary hearts remember their worth, where heaven's voice finds echo. And to those who feel a quiet pull to donate, understand your giving is not payment, it's partnership. It's not about funding content, it's about fueling continuation. When you pour into this flow, you are watering the same river that quenched your spirit. Like rain returning to the ocean, it always finds its way back multiplied. What you sow in sincerity becomes sustenance for souls you'll never meet, but will one day thank you in eternity. And when this message settles, take a moment to leave a comment, even a single word from your heart. Let it be your reflection, your prayer, or your gratitude. Your words have power. They might reach someone scrolling through shadows, reminding them that the fire they carry is not punishment, it's preparation. Chosen one. The mantle you wear now radiates purpose. Heaven trusts you not because you're fearless, but because you've learned to move forward even when afraid. The same God who anointed Elijah and called Elisha has placed his hand upon your life. You are part of an unbroken line of light carriers, destiny keepers, and faith preservers. Carry your mantle with grace. Let it remind you that the test was never about proving your worth. It was about proving your readiness. And now, as you walk into your next assignment, know this: every flame that tried to consume you has become the light that guides others home. The mantle is upon you. Shine gently, lead boldly, and never forget the one who entrusted it to you. Chosen one. The way you move now carries quiet confidence, divine confidence. It is not pride or presumption. It is the steady assurance of one who knows they have survived everything meant to destroy them. You walk differently because you no longer chase validation. You carry it. You no longer seek permission. Heaven already signed your release. You are no longer fighting for identity. You are walking in it. The shift that has taken place within you is deeper than emotion. It is transformation. You've crossed from striving into stillness, from proving into peace. You are no longer reacting to life. You are responding to heaven. Every step you take now is measured, intentional, infused with the awareness that you are accompanied by divine presence. You've learned the rhythm of grace: steady, silent, unstoppable. The ancient words recorded in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 31. If God is for us, who can be against us? That is the anthem that hums beneath your breath, now not shouted, but lived. You no longer need to prove God's favor, you embody it. You no longer need to defend your calling, your endurance already testified. You are at peace with yourself because you are aligned with purpose. Heaven's yes has quieted every internal no. Divine confidence is born in brokenness. It doesn't come from easy victories, but from scars that healed into stories. You know what it's like to lose and still believe, to hurt and still hope, to fall and still rise. That's why you move differently. You have met the edges of your weakness and found God waiting there, turning them into wings. You walk now with spiritual posture, shoulders lifted, heart open, eyes steady. Not because the path is easy, but because the path is ordained. You've learned that even when the road curves unexpectedly, it still leads to destiny. Nothing is wasted anymore. Every detour has meaning. Every delay has purpose. You no longer fear change. You flow with it. You have become fluent in trust. There's something unshakable about you now. Disappointment no longer derails you. It redirects you. Rejection no longer defines you. It refines you. You've stopped measuring success by what others see and started measuring it by how deeply you remain in peace. That is divine maturity, the ability to stand in chaos and still hear heaven's whisper saying, "Be still." Your prayers have changed too. They are quieter now, not because your fire has faded, but because your faith has deepened. You no longer beg, you bless. You no longer plead for open doors. You thank God for the closed ones. Your communion with heaven has shifted from transaction to trust. You no longer need constant reassurance because relationship itself has become your reassurance. Beloved, divine confidence is not arrogance. It's awareness. Awareness that you were never walking alone. Awareness that even your mistakes were woven into mercy. Awareness that the one who began a good work in you has never stopped shaping it. You are his masterpiece in motion, and the artist never abandons his canvas. When you speak now, your words carry peace because they come from a heart anchored in certainty. When you enter a room, you bring atmosphere because you carry alignment. You are a living sanctuary. Every breath, every action, every silence radiates purpose. Others may not understand your calm, but that's because they didn't walk through your chaos. They will wonder how you can stand so steady when the world shakes, how you can smile when circumstances frown. But you'll know it's not denial, it's divine awareness. You've seen too much of God's faithfulness to doubt his future. You are no longer trying to make things happen, you're letting them unfold. Divine confidence is trust without tension. It's knowing that if something leaves, it was never meant to stay. If something stays, it's strong enough to last. You no longer grasp, you glide. You no longer chase, you choose peace. And this peace, chosen one, will become your platform. People will be drawn not to your noise, but to your stillness. They will come seeking what you found, the quiet knowing that God is enough. You will teach not by preaching, but by presence. You are becoming a living message that says it's safe to trust again. This is divine confidence, not a crown on your head, but a calm in your spirit. Not a shout on the mountaintop, but a whisper in the valley. You walk differently now because you finally understand heaven has gone ahead of you, walks beside you, and lives within you. Chosen one. The journey has taught you not only who God is, but who you are in him. And now, your steps carry the sound of assurance, steady, sacred, unstoppable. Chosen one. The final veil has lifted. The test has ended and heaven stands in quiet awe of your heart. You passed not because you always felt strong, but because you never stopped believing. The trials that once seemed endless now reveal themselves as divine preparation. The pain that once felt senseless has been translated into purpose. And the one who watched you through it all now rises to affirm you have passed the test. You didn't realize how sacred your perseverance was. To you, it was survival. To heaven, it was worship. Every moment you refused to give up became a psalm. Every tear you offered in surrender became incense rising before the throne. God wasn't just observing your endurance, he was being moved by it. The ancient words written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned, the flames will not set you ablaze. You walked through those waters and they did not drown you. You walked through that fire and it did not consume you. You are standing here today as living proof that divine presence never left, not for a second. Every breath you take now carries the fragrance of survival touched by grace. You didn't just make it out, you made it new. The test was never about perfection. It was about perception. God wanted you to see what He saw in you all along, a heart that bends but never breaks, a spirit that cracks but never collapses. You thought you were proving your love for Him, but He was proving His love through you. That's why you couldn't quit, even when quitting felt logical. His strength had woven itself so tightly into your weakness that surrender was impossible. You have learned that heaven's silence was not absence, it was trust. The teacher remained quiet because the student already carried the answer. You've discovered that faith is not always loud declarations. Sometimes it's a trembling whisper that says, "I'll keep going." That whisper changed everything. You have entered a new stage, not one of testing, but of trust. God is no longer examining you. He is empowering you. You are now a vessel proven under pressure, one who can carry weight without wavering. You have become safe for greater assignments, trustworthy with deeper revelations, ready for responsibilities that require both humility and holiness. This season, you will look back at the tests that nearly broke you and thank them. You will see that the same fire that burned your plans also forged your peace. The same waters that threatened to drown you taught you how to swim in grace. The same rejection that crushed you created the space where God could dwell fully in you. Chosen one, this was never about surviving trials, it was about being transformed by them. You are not returning to who you were, you are stepping into who you were meant to be all along. The tests stripped away illusions, insecurities, and idols until only truth remained. And that truth shines now through your words, your presence, your silence. Heaven's affirmation will not always appear as miracles or applause. Sometimes it will manifest as deep rest, the kind of rest that whispers, "It's done." You no longer need to strive for God's approval, you are living inside it. The test results are eternal, faithful, chosen, true. Your heart has become a dwelling place of peace. Your mind carries a wisdom born from endurance. Your spirit radiates quiet strength that confuses darkness. You have nothing left to prove, only light left to give. The same God who tested your patience now trusts your perspective. This moment, this sacred exhale, is heaven's standing ovation. God Himself is proud of you. The angels who watched your struggle now watch your rise. The story that once sounded like lament now reads like prophecy. You have been refined, approved, and anointed for what comes next. And though you may not feel it fully yet, the shift has already begun. You'll notice that peace follows you more easily, that grace flows faster, that answers come clearer. The test unlocked authority, and authority always changes the atmosphere. When you speak now, heaven listens. When you move, creation aligns. You are not striving for favor, you are walking in it. So take this in, slowly you passed. You made it through the wilderness with your worship intact, through the storm with your song unbroken, through the silence with your spirit still speaking. Heaven is impressed not with your strength, but with your surrender. You are the one who endured and emerged radiant. You are the proof that faith still wins, that hope still holds, that love never fails. And from this day forward, your life will echo a simple truth: the test was the threshold. And you, beloved, crossed it. Chosen one, this is where the journey pauses, but not where it ends. You've walked through fire, silence, and storms, and heaven now calls you victorious. What you've just read isn't only a message, it's a mirror of who you've become. You are proof that perseverance births purpose and that faith, once tested, becomes unbreakable. If these words have found a home in your spirit, let them breathe beyond you. Like this message, if it reminded you that you are still standing by grace, share it so that someone, somewhere in their midnight hour, might find morning again through your light. And when you subscribe, you're not just following, you're joining a circle of endurance, a community of hearts that still believe in miracles, mercy, and meaning. Leave a comment below, something honest from your soul. It could be gratitude, it could be hope, it could be one word that captures your journey. Your words may become the confirmation another weary heart has been praying for. The story continues every time you share your light. So keep walking, keep shining, keep believing, because heaven is not finished with you yet.